To the AFL Hunter Central Coast preliminary final edition of On the Grill. Ashley Borg here with Shane Darwin. We're still waiting for Corey Hopper. We've got a special guest this evening, Scott Gray, the coach of the Entrance Baddo Bay Blues, waiting in the lobby to talk to us about the big game and the massive effort from his club this weekend. It was a wonderful day at Adelaide Street Oval, Shane, on Saturday. Some big results in other games, though, from other grounds.
Yeah, wasn't it just? I think, I think as far as the favourites getting up at Adelaide Street, I think the games went pretty well as they were expected to. Listen, it was a real windy day, but at least we didn't have rain. And after the couple of weeks we've had, a little bit of wind didn't bother me. Certainly didn't bother me being up in that beautiful broadcast box at Killarney Vale anyway. So admittedly, I wasn't out in the field trying to kick the Sharon. But it was a great afternoon and really good to get, that sort of bit of touch of spring air and to get finals footy back. I love this time of year. It is outstanding.
Yeah, and you'll note, sorry, Shane, I just thought I'd seen that. Just had a look in the screen there. I forgot to change shirts beforehand, mate. Sorry, not sorry.
Oh, yeah, you forgot, did you? Yeah,
right. The boys last night. Loved every second of it. Nah, very good. But look, there was a massive result in the men's cup game that's really turned the competition on its head, so to speak. And there's real danger for the Warners Bay Bulldogs, which we'll talk about in about 10, maybe 15 minutes. But Women's Cups went to plan for the most part, I'd say. The second game we're going to talk about when Scott comes on, that was a real cliffhanger, and I can't wait to hear his thoughts on it in a couple of minutes. But Killarney Vale Bombers 15-14-104 took care of the Warners Bay Bulldogs 2 straight 12. For mine, Shane, Brooke Turner and Jada Tab were unbelievable on the weekend as the Bombers ended the Dogs campaign in devastating fashion. Mia Wilson kicked 7 goals for the winners and Gracie Jurek kicked 4. Admittedly, she kicked a few from the goal square, but you know what? You take every goal you can get. The Dogs, their normal troopers served them brilliantly. Wellings and Pittman. Maddie Mueller, I was really impressed by Maddie Mueller in the ruck. Zala Tullipin also played a really good role down back. But at the end of the day, when you sum up now Warners Bay season, fifth, sixth place was probably where it's fourth or fifth place was probably where it sat for them.
Yep.
And that's been the scoreline all year when it's Killarney Vale Warners Bay, mate. So expected result, Killarney Vale march on.
Yeah, listen, I think the minute they lost that game to Singleton, which put them down in the playoff against Killarney Vale, I think that meant a week 1 exit. I think the Bulldogs probably would have been pretty competitive against the Entrance Baddo Bay or Terrigal Avoca. I think they would have matched up pretty well against them. But we know what Killarney Vale are like. They are a real star-studded team. They're the carryover premiers for a reason, and that's because they've got stars all over the park. Brooke Turner, as you mentioned, was outstanding. She was best on field. Listen, I don't know whether we're tipping the Elliot Davies. I don't think you can, but I can, and I'm tipping Brooke Turner for the medal in the women's because I think she's outstanding, and she was just dynamic all over the field there on the weekend. Her foot skills are second to none, and the way she evades opponent is just great. And if she's delivering the ball to you and Jamia Wilson, you put those two together and it's just goal city. And we saw that on the weekend and poor old Warners Bay were powerless to stop it. Fantastic season, I think, on the whole for Warners Bay. I really like what they've brought to the table this year. They certainly didn't give up at any stage during that game on Saturday. They gave it a full 4-quarter effort. And Amy's, been there a couple of years now, and we've seen their game style grow and mature each season. And if she sticks around next year, I think that'll happen again. I really like what they're doing at the Bulldogs in their women's program. They're getting plenty of numbers out in the track for both the plate and the cup. And it's onwards and upwards for them. We say goodbye to them for this year, but they'll be back next year. And I think we know the top 3 are the top 3, but Warners Bay could quite rightly stake a claim on being the 4th best team if they get their act together next year. And I think that's well within their grasps.
Yeah, and look, final for me on this one, Warners Bay, look, hold your heads up high. You should be proud of your effort this year. Amy Pippin, you've been outstanding as coach. Jazzy Wellings and, so many other players stood up this year, and a lot more stood up this year than previous years, which demonstrates just the level of trajectory that they're on at the Dogs. So, really proud effort. If I was Amy, I'd be really proud, and I hope she is. So if you're watching Amy, well done and a great season to you.
Yeah,
we might bring in Scott Gray now, Shane. What do you reckon, mate? We've got the coach of a side that were behind all game in the second semi-final and they were written off at 3/4 time. But I could tell you now, there was a group of about 25 girls, 22 girls, and one very, very proud coach when Scott comes onto the screen.
Well, I tell you what, I've got two people sitting in the lobby. I've got one Mr. Scotty, and I've also got Corey coming in as well. So let's get them in and say good day. So
yeah, absolutely.
Let's welcome them to the party.
Oh, wonderful. Here's Scott. Beautiful, mate.
How are we, fellas?
Yeah, very well, mate. I was just going to say, you're behind all game and written off at 3/4 time, but there would have been about 20 to 25 girls and one very proud man on the left of screen here that never gave up. And you saw 3 goalless quarters turn into a 3-goal 10-minute blitz to shock the Panthers for a 4-point win. Talk us through the win, mate. That is sensational from your girls.
Well, I said to assistant coach Tim Pettit at halftime, if we can just stay within a goal, 2 goals at 3/4 time, we'll run over the top of them. And anyone that was up there that day knows there was at least a 4-goal breeze there. We had it in the last quarter, so we were comfortable. We probably didn't use it as well as what we should have in the second quarter, but we defended pretty well in that quarter. And we always knew the girls would get it knocked over in the end.
No, wonderful, mate. And when you're playing against the Terrigal-Avoca Panthers, who are some of the players that you look for? I guess if you're targeting a particular couple of players, who do you go for?
So probably the game before that one, we hadn't seen too much of her, but Nia Jurek played against us, and she was the difference in the game. So we did a fair bit of work on her for that game, and the midfield did it perfectly. So they kept her out of it, which was great. She didn't get as much impact as what they would have wanted. Katrine Donnelly absolutely tore us apart. I thought we tried everything to try and stop her, and mate, she give it to us. So we were lucky that we had the wind in the last, because she was cleaning everything up everywhere. So
yeah, and she's a marvelous player. Welcome, Corey. How you going, Chop?
Yeah, good fellas. I'm just tuning in from my jail cell. That's why I'm a bit late.
Have you?
They just had to do my fingerprints, so that's why I'm a little bit late. No, I don't know. What's this streaming service called again?
This is Riverside. This one,
Riverside. I keep going to the Creekside one because it reminds me of home. But no, decided to update the app just as I was trying to tune in. So that's
lovely.
Right.
Lovely, mate. And look, who are you?
Scott, how are you, mate?
Scott, how are you, mate?
Good, mate. Good. Yeah. Don't let me interrupt, mate. It sounded like you were speaking about something I'd like to listen to.
Scott's just here just to talk to us about his win and what he thinks about the game on Saturday, mate.
Let's hear about it.
Who are your better players, my friend?
Mate, to be honest, we've got a mixed side again. It's like us at the moment. We're just struggling to find that consistency for the one group. So you'd think making a prelim, you'd pretty much have the same side. I think we've got 5 changes. So we're still struggling over here to get a full side together and make sure we get it together every week. But mate, the girls that are going to go out there and do the job for us. Mate, we've had a girl that's first year of footy, played on the wing for us, and Evie Timmermans, she's just been leaps and bounds for us. Walker come back into the side last week for us and was outstanding. She goes back out this week, so we have someone else come in. Just the young brigade through the middle have been doing a really good job. And mate, it sounds really, really silly with the scores that we've had put on us, but mate, our backline all year, the stuff that they've done in-house and what they're doing, if 3 or 4 of them weren't there, those scores would be double. So super proud in what that group has done. And yeah, at the moment we're just struggling to get it together up forward. Multiple different combinations. We got the young girls get up there and they kick a couple of goals here and there, and we just got to find that niche, which we're hoping to do moving forward once these girls come out of junior footy.
Yeah, Scotty, during the year, I think about halfway through the year, I would have put you as a lock for that 4th spot. You guys were traveling really nicely, and then injuries came and really sort of derailed the season for you. Any reasoning behind that, or was it just one of those bad luck situations where everything that could go wrong did go wrong?
No, I think it's just that, Shane. I think you've touched on it. Anything that could go wrong did go wrong. The injury started coming. As soon as the injuries start coming, the unavailability start coming, mate. It makes it hard. You get hit with injuries, and then you've got girls that they're out for whatever reason through the game. And I think we just had too many times in too many of these games, like the winnable games, the Singletons, the Warners, that's no disrespect to those sides, but out of that top three, those sides that we should be competing with every week, we just had too many girls away. There's a couple of them that got away from us that we really, really should have won. And yeah, we just look back on that. We can blame the injuries all we want. Like, I think there's seven season-ending injuries out of a squad of 50. At that time, I think we're up to part-time injuries, about the same, 7. I think we had 14 at one stage where we couldn't get on the park. So that just turns into, it drops a lot of the girls' heads, a lot of the spirit and the unavailability start coming in.
Yeah. Talk to us about Tian Green, mate. She's a real feisty character on a footy fielding. She's got quite tall, good tap down, bit of an athlete. Yeah, she really intrigues me when I watch her play.
Mate, we love her around here. So last weekend, she was the first Bardo Bay woman to reach 100 games. So,
awesome. Yeah.
Mate, we're Tian's been around since the start, way before I was here, and there's a core group of them, mate, which is what makes this weekend so special for us. That the girls that have been doing it tough, playing in the lower grades. We got them all together last year, and I think there's 3 or 4 or 5 of them maybe of the originals. And mate, but back to Tian, mate. She gives her every week. We know what we get out of her. She comes off gas. She's loud. She's vocal. She's just what we need. So no, she's good.
Scotty, your first year in the job, mate, and it was an emerging women's program out there, and I'm lucky enough to have been relatively close to it, close to the inception of it. And on top of that, a club that's emerging in the top tiers as well, in both men's and women's. Mate, with the gap between those top 3 sides and where you guys are at, there's clear that there's forward movement from some of those the clubs that are sort of competing in that 4th spot there. But are there any ideas that you guys have that are potential solutions to try and be able to close that gap, first of all, outside of obviously the development of talent? But the other thing too is retaining and recruiting more players that can help close that gap, especially for a club like yours who are just so spirited and so forward moving, very progressive thought out at Bardo Bay to try and keep moving with it and obviously to stay competitive in the cup sides. What has the club thought about in terms of solutions for that? Because I look at players like you, Mel Bendevsky is a great example, wonderful young player, huge future in football, playing it, taking your chances and taking an opportunity down in the Sydney League, and you can never knock a young player for doing that. You can only encourage. You've got a player like Evie Wargden, who's just a gun. She's fantastic to watch. Very young, could potentially good enough to seek opportunities elsewhere. What does a club like yours do to try and mitigate that flow, or at least try and recruit more 2 years? I'd love to know what the plan is over the coming years, because I think there will be, and I can't wait to see great things happening out of the Bay Blues.
Yeah, so just on that, last year when I was in the job with Harley, obviously Harley, I was assistant to Harley here. We had a look at that at that time. Obviously Harley has a succession plan of moving away, and we knew that these girls were coming through, and we still had these girls here. In my opinion, we cannot get girls to this club until we see success. What success looks like for different people's in everyone else's opinion is different to what mine is. But this prelim does that for us this year. We move forward. It's not the be all and end all, but we can't keep these girls. Of course, they want to go to Sydney. We've got a young forward. She's only played 2 first grade games here. Addie Gale, mate. She's in the Swans Academy. She's one of the leading goal kickers in the Northern Championships and all that sort of stuff. We're going to struggle to keep hold of her because obviously there's better options in Sydney. Now, we need those younger girls to come through and help provide the success to get the others here. As I said, I chased a number of girls from who I've coached in junior football and at other clubs and stuff for this year, coming back from Sydney and stuff like that. And it's just not quite the destination they want to go to just yet, Chop, which is what we're trying to build. So I spoke to the girls on the weekend at 3/4 time, and it was one of the main things I said, look, if we want to get better as a side and we want to get these girls here, we can't let this game slip. And it did the trick.
It's a good point, mate. And well, now for all intents and purposes, the Bardo Bay Women's Cup team are now a finals winner. You've won a final now, and it doesn't matter what the context of that may be. you've now got that you can boast and you can present to potential players and stuff. Do you think there's any initiatives that the league might be able to help implement? I don't have any off the top of my head, but I mean, even an exchange player program or something like that. Could something like that work between clubs in the women's competition, do you think?
I definitely think, especially with the boy running around in Sydney, obviously we get these local girls that are going there, and like getting these player permits for weekends where they've got to buy if their own club allows it and stuff like that. But we'll sit with Jack and Taff and Courtney and the rest after the year's gone, and we'll go through this and work out our best way on retaining and recruiting.
Great, mate. We're right behind you for it because we want to see. I'm obviously a bit of a soft spot for the entrance Battle Bay myself, anyway. But we want to see that gap close as quick as possible and not be hindered by the fact that it exists. So, and you hit it on the head. Success is the way to recruit players. It's hard to get that success when there's a gap that exists and no solution to try and close it up. So all the best with it, mate. All the best with it. We're right behind you here. We want to see everyone grow together, definitely. So, and you've done a great job with the girls too this year.
Cheers.
Terrific job, Scott. Talk us through a bit of a preview of the weekend, mate. You're in your first prelim. Okay. The odds are stacked, mate. Let's be honest, and I don't want to sugarcoat it for you because you know what I'm like and I know what you're like. The odds are stacked, mate. What are you going to do?
Mate, I speak to Brett Godfrey all through the year. He's a lovely bloke, great bloke. We bounce a lot of stuff off each other and have a bit of banter. And
lovely bloke,
mate. I was about to message him tonight and just say, like, I asked him during the year, how do I go about getting past Cardiff? And his words were, take a baseball bat. They're bloody good. So this year,
that probably wouldn't do you any favours, mate. So I would suggest don't do that.
So now the hacksaw Jim Duggan 2x4, mate.
Yeah, so mate, to be honest, we're going to keep it real simple. We're going to go out and we're going to work on just parts of our game. And as I said to the girls, it's semi-final football. Let's just work on one thing, and we'll just go quarter by quarter and see how we go, and we'll give it our best crack.
No, it's tremendous, mate. Well, we're going to more than happy if you want to hang around for the preview of the match, mate. Otherwise, it's a real privilege having you, mate, and congratulations on the side's effort this year under really tough circumstances. You're probably the story of the season for the Women's Cup, just quietly.
Agreed,
To overcome so many injuries and so many setbacks to get into a prelim is just sensational, mate. Well done, Scott.
Thanks, lads. I'll let you go.
No worries. Good luck on the weekend.
All the best, mate.
No, that was brilliant. Thanks, Scott. Wonderful, mate. He's very articulate. Someone at the season launch at the start of the year, he came up. No one wanted to go up from the entrance, but Bain Scott was, I'll come up and talk to you. So he was brilliant. So and he's done a great job then.
Their women's program come on in leaps and bounds for their second year. Let's not forget this is their second year in Cup. Really, really impressive.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Now, 2:30, Don Small Oval, City versus the entrance Batter Bay. The prelim final, the first one, the one that we're not covering, and the stats aren't great, sadly, for the entrance Batter Bay. They've played them twice this year for an aggregate of 269-1. Round 12, City 2018, 138 to the entrance Batter Bay 0. And 131-1 in round 3. Bit hard to see, and bit hard to see how Newcastle City don't roll through to another grand final, guys.
Yeah, well, I suppose the only thing maybe they're coming off a week's break. Maybe they're a little bit slow at the box, but they'd have to be pretty slow for about 3 quarters because they on paper they're a much better team. The stats tell us that. Everything tells us that. Listen, I think the entrance Batter Bay have had a wonderful year, but they just don't have the quality to match it with Newcastle for my mind. I don't know what you think, Corey, but I think it's going to be one-sided.
Nothing else to say.
Simple approach to the best.
Good. All the best. All the best. The entrance Batter Bay.
Yeah, same, mate. So I'm the same.
We'll see Newcastle City the next week.
Yeah, you'd love to see him put a bit of a cat amongst the pigeons, but it's going to be a tough one. Second one, Pasterfield Oval for us, 1:10 p.m. It'll be the third game we're covering the day, boys. Cardiff and Killarney Vale, really mouthwatering clash. The grand final replay from last year, played under tremendous conditions last year in the grand final. The spirit was fantastic. This year, Cardiff have got the wood over Killarney Vale, 2-1. And a really interesting stat that I pulled out, I'll get to in a sec, but they won 33-9 in round 9 and 52-22 in round 5. The top goal kicker for Cardiff on both of those wins was either Melina Ayres or Maddie Galagos, who I believe can't play this week because they're engaged in NPL football, and Melina Ayres got drafted back to the Newcastle Jets in the A-League, so they're not going to want her to play. So it's a really interesting one. But the other interesting one was round one, where Killarney Vale won 58-31. Mia Wilson kicked 4 goals. Now, in the other 2 games combined, she kicked 1 goal. So I'm sort of starting to get a bit of a narrative, possibly that they got to get it up to her and she's got to kick some goals for them to win. It's not putting it all on one person, but statistically, if Mia doesn't kick goals, neither do Killarney Vale.
Listen, flip a coin for this one. I'm excited for this game. I think it's going to be an absolute rip snorter. Yes, you could say that, Cardiff have the slight advantage. They're playing at home and they've had the week off. But, the Killarney Vale, I don't think they necessarily needed the week off. They've been building steadily towards the tail end of this season. I think their last half of the season was better than their first half of the season. So I think they're absolutely primed. And they're going to go out there fresh off a big win last week, and I think they're going to really take it up to Cardiff. This is going to be an absolute belter. We've got Kristen Kessler coming back into the team, who sat out last week, did the team thing because there was some illness in the household, and she just didn't want to risk it for the rest of the girls. And, I think that shows a fantastic captain's mentality and a team first mentality. So she's going to bolster their stocks, and Cardiff are coming off a break, but. Listen, that Cardiff coming off a break is a red-hot Cardiff team as well. They've got stars all over the park, and even with a Melinda Ayres out and whatever else out, they've got plenty of other options there. I think, for my mind, they've got the best defender in the league in Caitlin Pickett. So I think she's going to be doing a heap of work down back, because she has some weeks where she probably doesn't touch the ball, but this one's going to be a fair bit different, and she'll have to take Amia Wilson or whoever else they put her on. So it's going to be an absolutely intriguing game for me, and I, for one, can't wait.
Yeah, I think Killarney Vale are going to win this one. I think they showed some maturity in the way that they played the last couple of games that I've seen. Mia Wilson is a weapon, but I think they've got other avenues to goal now. Emerson Squires is playing wonderful football across the midfield. Taya White is a developing, building player. And Beth Wood's playing her best footy at the moment. Add Brooke Turner to that, and I think they've got a mature and very well-connected sort of midfield group that are kicking the ball down to players like Nia Durick? Gracie Durick, who is presenting better and better all the time. Jacqueline Green, we know, can kick a goal. And Mia Wilson, if she takes a mark anywhere outside of that 10, or let's go 15 metre from the goal, anywhere from there to 75 metres out, you can guarantee Mia Wilson will kick it. 75 metres might be a little pushing it a little bit. But also Holly Flack is a speedster. I just think they got a lot of great performers there. I love Sasha Edwards player, and I love Holly Gibbons as a player. They're tough and inside midfielders, but can play just about anywhere. Kirsten Kessler's on track to win a league medal, I reckon, this year. And Tadil Toga's been rucking beautifully in recent times. And on top of that, I think that a week off in finals is not great. Not a great thing to have in terms of building momentum. And I think that's going to affect Cardiff. Home ground, going to be very beneficial. Charlotte Day, I imagine, is going to be a player in that. They've got a very quick, frenetic midfield, and they move the ball very quickly, Cardiff. But I think there was a maturity that I saw about the Killarney Vale Bombers side on the weekend that I think they will be able to slow the tempo of the game down when they need to, find a direct route to goal, and put some pressure on Cardiff, who will be feverish to try and make it in the grand final. And if they find themselves behind at any stage of the game, I think it might rattle them a little bit. Whereas Killarney Vale, reigning premiers, this is when it starts to count for something, when they've stayed strong with the stocks that they've kept from the year before. So Killarney Vale for me by a couple of goals, I reckon.
Yeah, great tip. Really well surmised, mate, to be perfectly honest. My summation just sums up in a clash of styles. I mean, I think it's the close, tough, grinding footy of the Bombers, where they can win in a clinch, versus the Hawks, who can get on the outside and destroy on the outside. It's which one of the styles wins. I think the defense of Killarney Vale is crucial. Their back six really have to stand up tomorrow. Holly Gibbons and Holly Flack, like you said, Chop, they're just fantastic players. I wonder if Brad Edwards is going to deploy Brooke Turner or Kirsten Kessler down back rather than have him in midfield or on the wing. Maybe just have someone down back as a bit of a more solid presence, more of a skipper type presence down back. I don't know. It's just a thought.
Put Kessler, if you were, you put Kessler down there. I think she's a bit more maturity, and Brooke Turner's just an advancing, aggressive, forward-moving weapon. Forward. So
yeah, 100%, mate. And like you said, Taya White, Jackie Green can kick a goal. Statistically, in this game, if Mia Wilson does kick more than the 2 goals, they don't win. But it doesn't mean they can't win, because I think Killarney Vale is sensational, and I love watching them play on a weekly basis. They've got so many good stars across the ground. Don't want to reiterate the same plays over and over. The Hawks, Charlotte Day, Bonnie Swan, who was best and fairest runner-up last year in the Women's Cup, and Taylor Smith's going to be a key. She's a gun. The former Port Stephens Power Sydney Academy National Championships player who could do some damage up forward. Their run and gun football is just sensational to watch, and if they have deployed in midfield, it's going to be tough. Caitlin Pickett, like Shane said, can be a swing play, go back and forward depending on how the game goes. I literally just tossed a coin in my office in the principal's office today, and it flipped with Cardiff. So I'm going to pick them by about 3 points, and that's about it. It'd be a classic, just like the grand final last year. Best of luck to both sides. We're covering at 1:10. It's just going to be a beauty. So good luck to both sides. You've been wonderful all year. And yeah,
I'm gonna say Cardiff by 8 points. I hadn't given a tip, and I really had been sitting on the fence. I think I'm going to go Cardiff because it's home ground by 8 points. But
3 points is about as far as the coin could flow, and then I threw a couple of dice and subtracted the sum of the 2 squares, and that's what it came up with. So it's sort of got from there. Nah, fellas, I know before Shane, and I know Chops made a bit of a mention of it. I can't really say too much because I'm emceeing the Elliot Davey night, and I have the winners in my possession, so I can't say or do anything. Who wins the Women's Cup medal come Wednesday?
Well, Corey, I think we've both gone from the same team by the sound of it, by what you just said before. Are you saying Kessler?
Yeah, I think I think she's got a very good chance of winning it if Sarah Halverson doesn't smoke everybody again. So I don't know. I've always tried to get into the minds of umpires as best I can. Not always for positive reasons, but I've always tried to get inside their heads, and I just can't. When it comes to Elliot Davey medal night, they see a different way to the way that we see it from the sidelines, and not better or worse, just different from the angles. So for my mind, Sarah Halverson is untouchable as far as a player goes in the league, and if it should go according to the very best player in the league, then Sarah Halverson should win it, and she should win it every year. But I also know that people get votes at different games too. So there's a series of votes going out each week, and if that's the case, I would imagine Kessler grabs quite a few votes when the umpires are umpiring Killarney Vale this year. She's been eye-catching. She's been solid, reliable, consistent, and all the things that you want from a leader of a football club. So yeah, if it doesn't go to Sarah Halverson, I believe Kessler will get it.
Yeah, listen, and I went for Brooke Turner. So it's strange we've both gone for the Killarney Vale player, and I wonder whether we're going to cancel each other out with votes, whether they'll split the votes and neither of them will get it. But listen, I think the Sarah Halverson point's a really good point. I think she is so consistently good that even she's playing up at this level the whole time. And so another player will come up and have a good game. They may not get as close to her, but they go, oh, wow, that player had a good game. And she probably doesn't get the love maybe with the votes, but we'll find out on Wednesday night.
Do you know, I reckon it's because she's consistent from the start of the match to the end of the match. Brooke Turner's amazing. She's dynamic and terrific, and you notice the spurts of inspiration when they come, because it's like a lightning bolt. but there are periods too where she's, maybe not as effective. And then when she is effective, she's so effective it makes up for the times that she's quiet in a game. And that's not a discredit to her. It's just that's the style of football that she is. But I just find Kirsten Kessler, she gets the same number of kicks every quarter, same number of tackles, marks, does the same, has the same impact no matter what part of the game it is.
Nah, very interesting pick, boys. And before we go to the Men's Cup previews, you got any thoughts about the Elliot Davey medal?
Yeah, I've got thoughts about it.
What I will say was about 100 people polled a vote.
Wow, that's a spread field.
I'll tell you what my thoughts are about it. I'm dirty. I didn't get an invite to it. That's what I'm to tell you about. Oh, mate, I've been commentated nearly every single game bar one. We talk about the achievements of footballers all through the course of the year. We do it in real time. And I didn't even get an invite. I would have bought a ticket to go. I don't even know what night it's on. So I'm dirty about that. And I'm sending a message out to whoever sees it. I don't know if anyone listens to it. And I know it sounds like sour grapes, but it's not. But for 2 years, we're part of a team of Bar TV. We should all be going. We should all have a role. I think we should have some kind of role to do as well. But I haven't even heard from the league about it. So yeah. I'm actually dirty about it. I'm actually want to boycott my prediction. To be honest, I'm filthy today to find out about this.
Yeah, I agree with you, mate. I mean, we work as a team generally all year, mate. So would have been good. I mean, last year we had you on board, and then you got Crook, and it's.
I see it like this. I see it like this. We get paid a nominal amount to do the commentary each week, and then that's to try and keep it as a higher standard. I think as a team, I know, Shane, you put a lot of your own money into what you do in presenting the best pictures that I believe in local footy broadcasting. I think we've got one of the best packages here. But on top of that, things like this and the gas chats and all the extra social media stuff that between us that we do, we put so much time and effort and unpaid into it to give the best standard that we possibly can. We watch the game closer than anyone else in the league, and I think we serve everyone when it comes down to it. This is the night that we get to celebrate the achievements of those people that we are heralding week to week. And I just feel like it's a bit of a slap in the face to have done this for 4 years now and not even get a would you like to buy a ticket at least? Because I'd happily buy a ticket. So, are you going, Shane?
I'm working, so yeah, I'm not invited. I'm working.
Oh, so I'm the only one. I'm the only one.
Yeah,
well,
I've not been before, so it'd be my first one.
Yeah, I think that's a shit go. I think so. I'm going to gate crash it. I'm wearing a mascot uniform, and I'm going to take my own microphone, and I'm going to absolutely gate crash it. Probably won't get past security, but I'm still going to try. So enjoy, boys. I hope you have a good time there. But think of me while I'm watching and cussing and watching the web live stream.
Yeah, well, if you're watching on Bar TV, mate, the first thing you'll hear me say is welcome everybody to the Elliot Davey Medal Night. My name's Ashley Borg, and I'm 1/3 of the Bar TV commentary team, mate.
So there's another third over there bringing you the beautiful pictures, and the other third is filthy at home, probably not even watching it, to be honest. No. If anyone out there supports what I'm saying, send me a message or write to the league. Leave your comments in there.
Well, I think we're going to be watching the Elliot Davey Medal tomorrow. Is my tip.
Is it on tomorrow night? Is it tomorrow night?
I think we're going to be watching the medalists running around tomorrow. I think we're going to be watching the winner running around at Pasterfield. I've narrowed my list down to 2. One from the Bulldogs, one from the Panthers. I think either Kurt Fleming or Tom Gardner are going to be the medalists in my book. From the limited, obviously we don't see every game every week, but from the games I've seen, those two have stood out to me as being consistently good players. Probably Tom Gardner's only letdown is they lost so many games to rain. He's a couple of games behind, in the number of games they played, but I think he's a consistently good player for the Doggies, and they've had a really winning season, so he's got every chance. And Kurt Fleming brings a lot of class to that Killarney Vale midfield area as well. And we missed him last week, but looking forward to seeing him again tomorrow as well.
Nah, brilliant, mate, brilliant. Well, I don't know which one of the two games you want to talk about first, Chop, but there were 2 big results. I mean, one that was expected when the one we watched, but the other one was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Take it away, mate. Which one do you want?
Do I want to talk about?
Yeah, which one do you reckon you want to go to first, mate?
Oh well, I had a chance to talk with 3 players from both Newcastle City Blues and Warners Bay Bulldogs on Wednesday. If anyone wants to check that out, it's on the 4 Quarter Chop Facebook page. But it was a great chat with both of those guys. Followed up from a chat with a couple of champions from Terrigal Avoca and also a couple of champions from Nelson Bay, and some great insights into all of those clubs. Well worth a look at. So on account of the fact that I've had the chat with the Newcastle boys and the Warners Bay Bulldogs boys this week, I'll talk about the Terrigal game and the Nelson Bay game because I mean, I'm sure I'll say something about the other game as well at some stage. But opening up with the Terrigal game. Well, look, the result went the way that it went, that everybody expected, that I don't think was ever going to go another way. What was very pleasing and possibly unexpected was just how resilient and the sort of fight that the guys at Nelson Bay Marlins put up. And I've got to say, they have given themselves no shame, no disrespect at all. They put in one of the most honest accounts of a football side that is emerging, that has fought its way to the 4th position of finals and as a finalist. And they gave the most honest, accountable display that anyone could ever expect against an absolute powerhouse of a local footy that are on track to win another premiership this year, and that's at Terrigal Avoca. So for me, talking early, first and foremost, Nelson Bay, I hope they had a great bus trip back up there to Dick Burwell, because they
on that thing, because I wanted to get on there with them.
Mate, it would have been great to do that. And I tell you what, we probably should have, and then had a couple of nights stay in the beautiful Port Stephens area, because honestly, I was critical of the Nelson Bay Club early on in the year, only in as much as I felt they should have been in Cup right from the start. And I don't think too many people agree with me. Thankfully, that playing group also agreed after round 3. But that essentially puts them up against it. And they fought manfully. They bought into what they bought into. They put up with, many of the same things that clubs put up with, which is washouts and whatnot. But they stuck to their guns. They're led by two, the guys I spoke to being Wade Blackburn and Billy Barton, are the right guys to help guide them there. They've got their top end of players are as good as anyone in the league. Their next tier of players are emerging young players. If they can keep them all together and keep the atmosphere there, they've got a couple of great seasons ahead of them, and let's hope that they recruit a couple other good stars. Let's hope Craig Bird comes back for his season to play in Cup. That'd be great to see. But they should be very proud, and they should consider this nothing but a hugely successful season, Nelson Bay. And they were definitely a star in the league's hat in terms of a successful thing at the end. Bit controversial at times, but successful. In contrast to that, the Terrigal Avoca Panthers, my home club, even if they've disowned me, some of them at times, which they haven't, I don't think. Anyway, under Chris Bishop, who is just a wizard of a coach, he knows how to get them right. He's not playing in their final side for the first time in however many years, but he has got their mindset and headspace right. Their skills are up and about. They were a bit wayward against Newcastle in the second last game of the year. But I don't think that's going to trouble them. They were direct. They found goals. The fact they didn't beat Nelson Bay by probably what most people would have expected as more, I don't think is a blight at all, because Bish primes them for the right time, the right day, the right game in the right place. And he will be doing that as well. Their older players are playing as good as they've ever played. Their young players are superstars. I believe now they've got the most potent forward line, with Caden McNamara kicking 5 goals on the weekend. Although it took me a little while to recognise that he'd actually kicked the bag. I had to get a reminder. But we got it in the end. It's not like me to miss a bag when it's just delivered like that. But anyway, I did. But that's his second bag for the year. And dead set, the Terrigal Avoca Panthers have kicked 12 bags this year. 4 different players have kicked them, and one of them kicked 2 on one day. So it's just it is powerful there, and their back line are solid. They sometimes don't even let the re-entry kick go past half forward, and they are going to be up and about for this week. They were excellent against Nelson Bay, and I think that won't be any different this weekend.
And let's not forget, They didn't have Fleming. They didn't have Grimm and Lee. They didn't have Miller. You had those three back in. It's a good looking team.
Yes, it is.
Echoing everything Corey's just said, fantastic game to watch. Love what Nelson Bay brought to the table. I kind of felt like they were never in it, but they were never out of it.
No, they weren't.
It sounds like maybe I'm disrespecting, but I'm definitely not. They were brilliant. Loved what they brought to the table for the whole season. Everything you just said, Corey, and looking forward to them next year.
Yeah,
Thanks,
definitely.
Ash.
Nah, beautiful, mate. I thought the same. Look, honestly, sensational effort all game from the Nelson Bay Marlins. They just took it up to Terrigal-Avoca. They got within, I think, 19 points at one point, even when they were 30 or 40 points down. Such was their fight and their endeavour and never say die attitude. I think what got them in the end was just the overall class of Terrigal-Avoca and possibly the fact that you had to play more than 25 minutes per quarter. Every quarter was 30 minutes plus.
Yeah, that felt long, didn't it?
That takes it out of the side when they're not tuned to the minute. And you saw that with Terrigal. Last 5 minutes of every quarter, they were still going at the same speed.
Yeah.
And you could see Nelson Bay boys starting to get tired, hands on hips, hands on knees, walking around. And that's not a blight on them. It's just a season what it is. But
there was a commentator in the box doing the same thing in the last 5 minutes of each quarter.
Mate, we were absolutely panning. Wade Blackburn, Sean McGrath, you blokes, congratulations on the year because you deserve it. And I hope you're back bigger and better next year. Panthers, look, they just controlled the match. They dealt with the Marlins professionally. I thought that's the best way I could sum them up. They were professional, did their bit. Caden McNamara, the best individual performance of the season for mine. That was just a level above anyone else in the competition. That was unbelievable what he did on Saturday. That guy is headed for something special. Well,
I just want to point out that I'm his favourite junior coach that he's ever had. I just want to make that known.
I sort of spoke to him after the game, and he did comment about a bloke called Corey, but I don't know.
It's in the interview. He says it out loud. Him and Harrison Pitt both agreed, so I'm happy to take that. Hard to beat Chris Bishop as your favourite senior coach, that's for sure. But
Chris is. Look, honestly, I'm unashamed about that. I actually really like Chris Bishop as a coach and a human being. Mate, he's a great coach. But
in all fairness, I haven't coached either of those boys in seniors yet, so we'll wait and see.
Can still get better than that. There you go. There you go. I thought Jack Roberts was sensational too. He really has impressed me in those last few games that we've had. Corey Billings, I thought he was dominant in the middle. Anything that was good, he got it out of there. And I just love watching him play too. And Walters and Pitt were really sound. And I take back everything I said about you, Alec, in the game live because I watched it back and you're actually really much better than what I thought you were. So well done, mate. And
I never questioned you, Alec. I never did.
No. These two boys didn't. Please note it was me. Come and have a go at me, mate. No, but honestly, he had a really good game. He sort of played like Mason Cox did last night for Collingwood. He tried to he got the mark. People came through, got the goals. And, they played off him and his tall capability. So I thought it was great.
Between them, Ash, and having Brandon Thomas, mopping up around, kicking whatever goes to crumbs, you've got three big guys taking marks down there and not dropping many. And then someone like Brandon Thomas mopping up or Noah Cookman as well. They're deadly. That forward line is deadly.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And they've named Mitch Price this week too. So, and when we get to the preview of that, they've named someone else that's very important to them during this season as well. But congratulations to congratulations Nelson Bay on a very fine season. But look, second game, fellas, my face was just set to stunned for the entire match that we're in the broadcast box. Newcastle City 2018-138 defeated Warners Bay 3-7-25. I spoke to about 3 or 4 people independently of us and the coaches, and the only way that they could describe it was men versus boys. That was pretty much the summary of the match. Warners Bay's first goal came 4 minutes and 20 seconds until 3/4 time, which probably is about the best part of 65. Maybe 70 minutes of football. And then by then it was 79-11. And just all she wrote. Jordan Deere and Joseph O'Donoghue kicked 5 and 4. Sheriff Woody got 3. He obviously heard the comments from the week before and decided now he's going to give it to me even more. It's great to see. Zach,
you might get heckled at the Elliot Davies, mate.
I get heckled at everything, mate. I'm used to it. 26 years umpiring gives you that. And 2 goals for Zach Munns, which, gives a bit of credibility to him. But, when we go to the preview very shortly, the question I've got is how on earth does Nathan Harkness build back a bunch of men to come back and win a preliminary final after that?
Well, sometimes all it takes is to be made to look like boys to bring the men back. So maybe that's all it needed. Who knows?
Yeah,
it's a good point.
Listen, City did what City do. They played outstanding football. We saw that 2 weeks ago when they beat the Panthers down at Hilton Moore, and they just rolled that back and had another big win last week. They give themselves a week off to freshen up, and they'll be sharpening their kicking boots, ready to go again next weekend, because they're obviously in the grand final, and they'll be licking their lips against whoever they play from tomorrow's winner.
Yeah. Well, Newcastle City, they're the benchmark standard. They may not have gotten the minor premiership in the end, but there's kind of almost controversial circumstances around that in those washouts and how they affected the match ratios, and they affected the particular games that were affected. I'm not saying that Warners Bay Bulldogs wouldn't have won it regardless if all the games were played out, because they were certainly on that roll. But what we saw on the weekend was the devastating effect of what not enough football can have on a team or a club when there's no contingency plan for washouts and whatnot. So without getting too much on my soapbox, but I will get at least 1 foot on it, there's no doubt. I hope that things turn around for the Warners Bay Bulldogs, and I think they will. I think they'll be a much better account of themselves this weekend, no doubt. But that's what I believe greatly influenced that result. Not enough football for the Warners Bay Bulldogs, not enough finals experience to prep them exactly how they need to be, whereas Newcastle City have been doing this for the best part of a century. So they know what they're doing. They're a professional outfit, a professional club, that this is their time of the year. They're used to playing their best football at this time of the year, and they know how to go about it. They've got a great squad up there at Newcastle City, and all the boys get along that well. They're strong in the back line, in the forward line, and they're at their best in the middle at the moment as well. Coached well. That's where it was, and poor Warners Bay sort of went back into a regressive shell of starting games slowly, which is what a mistake that they've had in some final series gone by. And no doubt Nathan Harkness will talk to them about it. The fact that Zach Munns kicked 2 goals out of their 3 is just testament to the year he's had. And he's probably unlucky not to be holding a Wollongong trophy on whenever the Ellie Davey medals are. What night is it, incidentally?
Wednesday, 6:30, Bar TV Sports.
Next Wednesday. All right. So, all right, I'm gonna have to skip table tennis. So,
well, I don't know.
Watch on your phone,
mate, because Harrison Pitt kicked 42 goals in 10 games. And
no, I mean to get there. If I'm going to gate crash it.
Get there. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, the good news for the Warners Bay Bulldogs is it's 3:30 tomorrow afternoon at Pasterfield Oval. They're going to have a chance to go around again. Obviously, being minor premiers, they do get the double chance. And boy, did they need the double chance. But they are coming up against a red-hot Terrigal Avoca Panthers. This is going to be an absolute belter. I don't think we're going to see the same Warners Bay that showed up last week. I think this is going to be a different team. They've scraped the rust off, and they're going to have to give it their all from the first minute, because as we've just discussed, Terrigal Avoca are in bulldozing form. Boys, I'm excited for tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge game, mate. A few stats for the game. They played only the once this year, and Terrigal Avoca got up by 16 points. Interesting one for mine. The last 5 teams who finished top of the ladder made the grand final. The only team that didn't was Cardiff last year, and 4 of those 5 went on to win the grand final. Who's the last? Who do you reckon the last team was that finished top of the ladder and not made the grand final?
Well, I know the answer, so I don't want to spoil it.
You know it,
mate. Well, there's only 2 teams or 3 teams that have ever finished top of the ladder in the Black Diamond Cup, which is Cardiff, Terrigal, and Newcastle City. So let's go by the numbers. That's probably been 40% of the top of the minor premiers in the last 25 years have probably been Newcastle City. So, but Cardiff probably perpetually the worst performing finalists. They've won plenty of premierships, but they've been more finals series, but not won grand finals out of them than I think just about any other club. So it's going to be, I'm going to say it's between those 2. And would I be right? And let's go. Let's go Cardiff.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, the
wrong
last
one.
team that didn't make the grand final after finishing top of the ladder were Newcastle City in 2012.
Oh,
So it's not a good record to have. It's an unwanted one, and Warners Bay are on the precipice of having that record come about 5:30 or Saturday afternoon. Other interesting ones, and Andy Bull, we know how good he is at the stats. Sides that were on top of the ladder made the grand final and lost. Cardiff 2024, Terrigal Avoca 23, 18 and 13. And Cardiff 2010, 09, 08, and Newcastle City 2007. There's a bit of a theme with 28, 208, 209, 210, 213, and 2018 there, but yeah, bit of a theme.
So what you're saying is Terrigal have lost more grand finals from finishing minor premiers. Is that right?
Yeah. The other theme I could see is I think I umpired 5 of those.
Well, you won't be umpiring this year's grand final. We know that.
Maybe that's what the common theme is, Borgie. Is that what you're saying?
I know I umpired 5 of them. I don't think I did the 09. No, the 2010. Yeah, that's I wouldn't have even known that if Andy hadn't brought that up. There you go. But look, Warners Bay, they're staring down the barrel of a pretty unwanted record. I'll keep this really short and sweet because I know you guys are ready to rip in. The Panthers were devastating last week. They're going to be on a high. They got so many stars. We can name them all. Adam Miller's coming back into the team this week. They got Caden McNamara, who's just an absolute out and out superstar. They are primed. They're ready for another grand final in my book. Warners Bay, mate, they're game. They're so game. Mark Dignam, the Church, Zach Lauritsen, Seb Thomas, Tommy Gardner. I mean, you can rattle through their list too. They've got a terrific list of players, but I just think it comes down to 2 things. Terrigal Avoca have peaked at the right time of the year, and Warners Bay, not just the 2 games in 6 weeks, but what they copped last week. I don't think they're going to. I think it's going to be too much of a ladder to climb for them. I reckon they've been pretty much shot to pieces by that game. But look, I really hope they can do well and get up. My tip's Terrigal Avoca by 5 goals in the prelim.
Corey.
You want me to go? All right. I actually hate having to pick this one. I like, honestly, this hurts me more than my performance anxiety before a table tennis match, which is really hard to get over, by the way. But because there's a sentiment for the Terrigal Avoca Panthers. So many of the players in that list are all young blokes that I've coached, not either in juniors or at senior level, or I've known for a long time. There'd be more than half of that squad, if not more. And a lot of them were at other clubs that I coached them as well. So for them to be at Terrigal now, they've come together and they're on and a lot of them missed out on a premiership last year and didn't even play in a grand final last year. And then I think the year before where they were beaten. They were beaten by Killarney Vale, and then they were beaten by Newcastle City, and then they didn't even make the grand final last year, and now they've got a chance to make it. And so there's a massive feeling of sentiment. I don't know if logic's getting involved here or not, or it's just sentiment, because there's a big feeling of sentiment. I desperately want those boys to play in a grand final, want them to win one. I think it'd be wonderful. Then, on the same token, I've been following the Warners Bay Bulldogs so closely for 5 years and always gunning for them to be the club that breaks through and knocks off the duopoly of the 2 sides up the top there and shows the way for all the other emerging clubs that how they can make their way to a grand final and match it with the top sides. And that's how they do it. So the sentimental favourite of the league would be the Warners Bay Bulldogs, wouldn't it? So and they're great guys. They're top blokes. I love that they've developed players into superstars, and they've in turn recruited superstars to them. Mark Dignam and of course Tommy Gardner as well. So I'm in a really hard spot. I don't know whether how to pick it one way or another on logic or sentiment. So I'll say simply this. You would assume that the experienced side and the wonderful coaching of Chris Bishop and the fact that club has not missed a final series in, I think, 14 years, maybe 15 years. And Chris Bishop's 17th or 18th year. And the fact that they've probably got a future Sydney Swan in amongst their group and whatever else, you would suggest, and their run on momentum's with them, you would suggest that they'll win, and they'll probably win it comfortably. Warners Bay, however, have developed an X factor into their game this year that has overcome the big stage nerves that they've had in the past, and they could be capable of having. They've also got 4 bag raiders on their side, 4 guys that have kicked 5 goals or more through the course of the year, so they're capable of doing it. Sentiment will say Warners Bay. Logic will say Terrigal Avoca. Logic always wins out over sentiment, unfortunately. So I think Terrigal Avoca will probably win it.
Yeah, listen, I certainly get where you're coming from, and both those arguments make a lot of sense. For my mind, we've got the coach of the year going up against the coach of the last 10 years. You know, that's what it comes down to. They're going to be both very well-drilled sides, both very well-coached sides. Listen, I'm going to make my tip, and this one's for you, Derek Leecroft. I'm tipping Warners Bay. So there we go. I'm going to go with the Dogs, but it can't be on the back of, I've said the last couple of times, Mark Dignam can get the boys on his back and take them with him. He can't do that this time. This needs to be a team effort. You cannot have any passengers out in that field tomorrow. And if Warners Bay show up, they've had a week to get their rust blown off. They are the top of the table minor premiers, and they play a good brand of footy. We saw them come really close to beating the Panthers down at Hilton Moore earlier in the year, where a bit of wayward kicking cost them that game. So they can do it. They've just got to believe they can do it. And if they show up tomorrow with that belief, I think they can. I'm going to take the Bulldogs by 7 points.
So you know, I didn't actually tip either one of them. I just said where Logic would think. So either way, whoever wins, I'm going to be absolutely wrapped. But I didn't actually tip anyone. I just said that's what I think will happen.
Nickname you the straddler, mate, because you're on both sides of the fence.
On this one, mate, I'm happy to say this one I am, because
I'm in the same boat. You want them, but I like them both. Hey, they're good guys. The whole lot of them are good blokes. They've worked hard this year, and you summed it up. What you said in your summary, Corey, was spot on, mate. You want it'd be great for Warners Bay to get up after so much hard work. They've done all the work to get to where they are. Terrigal Avoca, they're coming, and they're primed, and they're ready to go. So
they're good. They are good.
Whoever wins it, they'll deserve it. They'll get into a grand final against Newcastle City, and it'll be a wonderful match in a week's time. But just to go through all the finals really quickly, Black Diamond Women's Plate. We've got the Newcastle City versus Cardiff game at 9 a.m. So that's when our coverage starts tomorrow. Maitland versus Nelson Bay will play in the other game at Don Small Oval at 10 a.m. The other match that we've got in the Black Diamond Plate, an interesting one, Newcastle City versus Singleton Roosters at 11 a.m. and Terrigal Avoca versus Wyong Lakes Magpies at midday at Don Small Oval, and Wyong Lakes get the home ground advantage for that one. So it'd be interesting to see if Simon Smythe's boys can get in for a grand final. They were desperately unlucky last year to miss out. Black Diamond Women's Cup, Newcastle City versus the entrance Bateau Bay, 2:30 at Don Small Oval. It's the main piece de resistance over there at the Don. And we've got Cardiff versus Killarney Vale, the grand final replay from last year at 1:10 excuse me, at Pasterfield Oval. And our main event, 3:30 tomorrow, Pasterfield Oval, Cameron Park. Get down if you can be there. Otherwise, tune into Bar TV to listen to Chop, Shane, and myself do our best impression of a commentary team for Bar TV Sports. And Warners Bay versus Terrigal Avoca. I promise this to be a terrific match. Can Terrigal Avoca do what they do every other year and get themselves into the
well, not last year. Not last year, fairness.
Or
can they do what they didn't do last year?
What they didn't do last year but could have done last year that would have done every other year in the last 12 years before that? Or can Warners Bay get themselves into the big dance for the very first time in Black Diamond AFL Hunter Central Coast history? It'll be a sensational achievement if they can do it. Fellas, I can't wait for tomorrow. Really is.
What about how last week, 2 games, 2 finals in Men's Cup, 2 bags? So good. There was a bag in each game. How good's that? That gives us 20 bags for the year. I wanted you to know that. Massive.
That's
been a big part of my year this year.
Hopefully, you get to pull another one tomorrow.
Supermarket of bags, mate. We got 100.
Who do you reckon? Yeah, I know. Oh, that's what I said. There's more bags than the queue of click and collect bay at Coles supermarket. You know, there's just bags, chock-loaded bags everywhere. The goals kicking has been sensational this year. I reckon we'll see a few good ones tomorrow.
Excellent. What's your? We're just getting warmed up now, and I'm just basking the glory of Collingwood for a little bit more for another few hours, Shane. And
what happened? What did they do? Did Collingwood do something?
Yeah, we'll just get a home prelim final, mate. That'll do me for now.
I don't talk shit about AFL now, especially being a West Coast Eagles supporter. I've got absolutely nothing to contribute.
You and me both, Job.
All my in-laws are West Coast Eagles fans, mate, coming from Subiaco, so they don't talk football after about May. So
my legs go wobbly every time someone mentions the word Eagle at the moment. It's just not right. But
all right, well, that's us for now. It's been a really good show. Thanks again to Scott Gray for being with us. Thanks again, Chop and Shane. We'll see you at Pasterfield Oval at about 8:30 for a 9 o'clock start.
What time?
Hopefully 8:30, mate. And a special presentation on Wednesday night at the Bar TV, live and exclusive coverage of the Elliot Davey presentation night from the Belmont 16-footers starting at 6:30 p.m. And, we look forward to all of you.
Or you can watch Chop's alternative rebel version of it on live streamed on my Facebook page. It's going to be so fun. Watching a embittered commentator who didn't get invited to the Night of Nights say what he really thinks about it.
Beautiful, mate. Oh, they're still waiting for your roving Chop, mate, from last year.
Who's that? Who? What happened?
They were still waiting.
Oh, the year before.
Last year, weren't they?
The year before. Yeah, mate, I don't know. There's a conspiracy going on here with me and Elliot Davies. As far as I'm concerned, the abbreviation EDM stands for erectile dysfunction medicine, not Elliot Davey medal. So, or electronic dance music or something. That's what you'll get on mine.
Well, we'll call it the Elliot Davey night, and we'll present it to you live and exclusive on Bar TV from 6:30. From Corey, from Shane and myself, Ashley Borg, we'll see you at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning for Pasterfield Oval.